is Sunday, which means long run day. I have 12 miles today. Last week I did 9.5, and there's a greenway that just got opened this summer, and I was really excited to run on that, so I ran on it last week, and I got to about like the halfway point of my run, and I had to turn around, and so I didn't really spend a lot of time on that greenway, but basically I figured out that there's like a mile of it from the street that I enter on is not really finished. It's a lot of like sand and mud and rocks and stuff, but then once you get past like that first mile of it, it connects to an existing paved greenway. And I think I probably ran on that paved greenway for maybe a quarter of a mile, maybe a half a mile, and then I had to turn around because I was at the halfway point of my run. So I'm really excited today, because last week was 9.5 miles and this week is 12 miles. I'll get to spend probably a couple of miles on that paved part of the greenway and just like kind of spend that time exploring and see what's over there. So I'm really excited to do that. Also today is like an easy run, long run. Last week there were some race paces mixed in, so that made it a little bit more challenging, and so I wasn't able to just enjoy the scenery as much. So today it's just going to be like an easy, it sounds crazy, an easy 12 miles, but it's like an easy pace, so I'll be able to just kind of cruise, put it on cruise control and run. So I'm going to have my coffee, probably a couple pieces of toast or something, and then I'll come back and show like the fuel that I'm doing and the hydration and all that, kind of like part of my strategy for that. Okay, so I thought I would go over the fuel and hydration aspect of this. This is still something I'm kind of working on, because I haven't done any distance longer than a half marathon so far. So a lot of what I read is like 30 to 60 grams of carbs per hour, and then if you're running for longer than 2 hours, which today it's probably going to take me 2 hours and 15 minutes because I'm doing a lower pace run. Like my easy pace is around 11 to 12 minutes. Usually it starts around 12, and then as I get kind of warmed up into it, it'll go down to towards 11, maybe 11.5 minute miles. But I've also read 2 to 3 grams of carbs per kilogram of body weight, which sounds a little bit better to me because they say 30 to 60, and then if it's going to be over 2 hours, it should be 60 to 90, and I'm like, oh my gosh, 90 grams of kilograms or of carbs per hour. That's like for a little over 2 hours. I'm supposed to figure out how to get 200 grams of carbs. Like I'm just going to be eating the entire time. So for me, 150 pounds, 68 kilograms, let's say 2 grams of carbs per kilogram, that's 136 grams of carbs. That's a lot. So I'm just going to do my best. So I have these gummies. They're from Target. I don't know if it's exclusively Target, but Be Up gummies. This is like 18 grams of carbs. I have a Honey Stinger nut butter waffle. That's 17, so there's 35. Then I have this Exact fruit bar, which I have not tried yet. The lady at the store said the apricot is really good. She said they sort of melt in your mouth. They don't get stuck in your teeth like gummies do. This is 25 grams of carbs. And then this Morton 100. Also haven't had Morton. I usually do goo gels, but they didn't have any goo at the running store that I went to the other day. This is 25 grams of carbs, so 50 plus 35, that's 85. And then I use noon tablets. I always pack one in a little baggie, and then I put one in my water. And these have 4 each, so that's 8. So today we're gonna get 93 grams of carbs, and that's just gonna have to do. I'm just gonna keep working on it little by little. I don't know that I will ever build up to 90 per hour. Maybe if I was on a bike or something. I know they have Scratch Labs makes a powder that you can put in your drink that's 100 grams of carb, but it's like 400 calories. So it's not something you would just sip on like water. Maybe if I was wearing a vest and I had one bottle of just regular water with electrolytes, like the noon tablet, and then the other bottle has my carb mix. I know a lot of people use those carb mixes when they're on a bike. I don't know if I could do that while I'm running, but you just, when you're running, you're training your legs and you're training your lungs and your heart, basically, to be able to withstand that exertion for that period of time, where you also have to train your stomach to be able to handle eating that whole time, or consuming. I don't want to say eating, because sometimes you're not eating like a gel. I would say you're more drinking, but consuming calories and consuming carbs is something you have to train your body, your stomach, to be able to do. So even if I only do 93 today, and the recommended for my body weight would be 136, and that's only for 2 grams per kilogram. Like, this isn't even 3 grams per kilogram of body weight. This is only 2. So I'm not going to get up to 136 today. Maybe not ever. But I'm just going to keep on working on it, and then just try to get my stomach to where it can handle consuming a lot of carbs and a lot of calories while I run, because I would rather be prepared than not be prepared. So even if I don't feel like I need those carbs or calories, I want to know that my body can handle them. So that's kind of what we're working on today. So I'm going to get my shorts all packed up and everything, and I'm starting to finally get light outside, so I'll get out there and get my run done. So it's finished the first mile, and this is the part where the sidewalk ends, which I actually really like, because it's like mid-September here in North Carolina, and early fall. We have these spiders. They're called, I call them orb weavers. My neighbor the other day called it a writing spider. I don't know what it's called, but they're really big, and they weave these huge webs. And like, they usually have this like zigzaggy type pattern. It looks like they're writing on their web, but they spin webs like between trees. So if you run on the sidewalk in early fall, you're likely to run through one of their webs, and even though they're harmless, that's like a super uncomfortable feeling to like run through the giant spider web. So I'm glad to not be on the sidewalk for the next little bit. But I ran that first mile. It was like 12.5-minute pace, which is slow and easy. Probably going to work faster now because I'm not focused on my pace. I'm focused on making a video. So I'm going to turn this off and check back in a bit. All right, I'm like 30 minutes in, so I'm going to start eating snacks pretty soon. I love this street. It's like just wide open, like farms and stuff along here. Although I do have to run back up that hill, which last week when I ran this street, I didn't realize I was running downhill this whole time until I got back, and I was like, shit, I gotta go back up. But yeah, I'm like 30 minutes in, so I'm gonna take my first little bit of fuel. I'm almost 3 miles in. My second mile was like 11:37. My first one was like 12:31. This one might be a little bit faster since I'm going downhill a lot. But we'll see. The point is, usually start out really slow and then just sort of settle into a pace, usually between 11 and like 11:45 for the rest of the run. So I'll check back in just a bit. I'm gonna have a snack. So this is the greenway, and like I said, for the first mile or so, it's like not actually, this is decent terrain. The rest of it is like a lot of rocks and sand, especially if it rains. And the rocks are like huge, so it's easy to roll your ankle on them. So I'm excited for this whole portion to be paved like the rest of it. But I'm gonna just try to get there. I mean, look at this. It's a huge rock. Try to get there as safely as possible to the paved area of the greenway. So. Okay, I'm like 4.5 miles in. I'm on the paved part, so I'm gonna run 1.5 miles on here and then turn around. I am currently having a Morton gel for the first time ever. I usually have goo, which has a lot of flavors that I really like, and the consistency is like pudding. This is one of the worst things I've ever put in my mouth. I'm gonna finish it because that's what I have, but it is like jelly, like from you get at the grocery store for toast without any flavor. And just, that's disgusting. Like, just clear. It's kind of like a chunky texture. I feel like I have to chew it. Disgusting. I feel like everybody that I see on YouTube and stuff uses these. I don't know why. Nasty. Alright, so I finished the paved section of the greenway. So I'm walking a little bit. I'm like 7.5 miles in, so I'm gonna walk a little bit here, and then I will jog to this gas station, refill my water bottle because I'm almost out. And then I have like 4 miles to get home. So not looking forward to going on that really hilly road again, but that's what it takes. I can't just stop when I'm not home. That last, like once I turned around on the greenway, that felt like it took forever to get back to this point. But I noticed like the first half of that, I don't know, it was probably 1.5 miles, maybe 2 miles on the greenway. The first half was like really quiet, hardly any people. And then like the second half I was getting closer to where there's like an existing greenway that's been there for a long time. So I don't know if people just don't live over here, or if they just don't know that it goes this far down or what. But I know that other section is like near a bunch of subdivisions and stuff that have been there for a while, and there's like a Target over there. I know there's an entrance from the Target parking lot. So I don't know, probably just a more populated area, but there were a lot of runners, a lot of walkers, bike riders and stuff. So that was pretty cool. I'm not used to seeing like civilization on my long runs. It's like really a solitary thing for me. So it's always nice to see other people out getting their steps in and stuff. So anyways, I'm gonna finish up here on this gravel section and run into that gas station, see if they'll let me refill my water bottle, and then keep going and get on home. Okay, so I am 10 miles in. I just finished that hilly road, so now I'm kind of in the home stretch. That road is hard, man. I ended up walking some of that hill because I was trying to eat some gummies. And you know, when you're like 9 miles in, you gotta go up that hill. It's just whew. So next week is sort of a deload, like a recovery week. So my longest run is 6.5 miles. So I'm not gonna run that route that week, and then the week after I'm gonna be in Disney World, so I'll do my long run down there. And then the week after that I might just go back to the other route that I usually do, where I run down into the next town over, and just take a break from Kelly Road for a bit, because I did it this weekend, last weekend, man, it's tough. So yeah, I'm gonna take a little break from that, but I got less than 2 miles left, so I'm gonna wrap this up and get back with you. Okay, so I finished up
I'm just gonna stretch while I'm standing here. That was really hard. It's weird because I did 9.5 last week, and you'd think 12 miles is not that much more. But my hips are sore, my glutes are sore, which normally my glutes are not sore after I run. But my hips haven't really been sore since I did a 10K back in June. Like, even when I did my half in August, I don't remember really being sore, but when I did that 10K, I did I think 940 miles or something like that, which I never run that fast, and I ran that fast for 6.1 miles. And I did that as part of my training. That was not like my target race, so there was no taper or anything like that. So I guess it's just the difference between tapering for my half marathon a month or so ago and like doing 12 miles coming off of, you know, a 30-mile week, 3 30-mile weeks in a row. So yeah, that was tough, but I got it done. I got a cramp in my side when I had like a mile left. And the only thing I can really attribute that to is those gummies, the B-Up gummies, because those weren't really sport gummies. Those were just like little kid gummies. So there's probably a lot of sugar in them or something that made them, caused them to make me cramp up. So probably won't have those again on a run, but everything else worked out really well. The Morton, again, was disgusting, but I didn't have any issues with it. So that's good. But I'm thinking I may just go back to doing goo. Like I said, they were out of stock the last time I went to the store, so I just got a bunch of random stuff that I'd never tried before. But I just think, you know, that apricot thing that I had was okay, but it was only like, I think it was either 17 or 18 grams of protein, or sorry, carbs. And goos are like, I think 23. I think there's some that maybe are a little bit more than that, but I don't know. Probably just need to stop complicating it and just have a goo every 30 minutes and bring like 9 goos with me to the marathon and just call it a day and stop trying to do too much. It's a lot of math. So I don't know. We'll see. But that was the run for the day. Next week's a little bit easier week, and then I'll be back. The week after that, I'll probably do some recording for my Disney long run and just my week of running and lifting at Disney, because we're staying at a resort that has a gym, so I'm excited about that. So you'll hear from me then.